think these evil monsters just set my baby, my daughter, up to be violated. And I usually don't cry about what's happened to me, but my baby is a different story. And I knew something was wrong because she was hanging out with some girls, or a girl. And a mother knows in their spirit when something is wrong, something is off. And I just kept getting a really bad feeling. And I tried to tell my daughter, because this target individual, that people are after me, that they will do things, they will send people to try and infiltrate, to try and hurt her. But I don't think she understands how far and how sinister and demonic these people are. But for the past month, she was hanging out with this group, and I just kept getting a bad feeling because she was hanging out with them every day. And I'm an empath and a medium, and she was acting so weird and so off. And so I kept pulling cards. When I just decided, I said, I'm just gonna pull cards on the energy just to see, and the cards kept saying something was going on, like that wherever she was being filmed or monitored, and it was basically like some type of, Pizzagate, like child porn, whatever, even though my daughter's like barely out of high school, brand new in college. And so I know one night I just started freaking out because the energy kept saying over and over, like, no, she's being coerced into doing something that she shouldn't be doing, and they're filming it. And I and they're filming it for profit, and I got so nervous and freaked out. So one night I freaked out. I called her and I'm like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And she was just like, "Oh no, we're just whatever." And I'm like, come home, come home. And it took her so long to get home. And she was telling me, she was like, "Oh, I'm embarrassed. My friends were wondering why you were freaking out." And it was a gaslighting energy, but I knew something was going on. And I said, "Are you okay? What are they doing over there? What are you doing with them girls?" She's like, "Nothing, nothing, nothing. Everything is fine. You're embarrassing me. I'm going to be an adult, and you can't, smother me like this or whatever." Time is passing, and she's still acting off or whatever. And again, there's something about the energy around, because she kept hanging out later and later, and I knew what I used to do, when I was young. And not that my daughter is me, but you just know teenagers, you know what you did when you were a kid, you know the patterns. So I just knew something was off, and I knew whatever was going on, that they were filming my baby and they were putting that out on the dark web. And so my daughter comes to me tonight and she says, "Mom, I need to talk to you." And I'm like, "Yeah, what's going on?" And I kept telling myself, I said, no matter what she says, just keep your composure. You can't freak out no matter what she says. And so she basically tells me this girl that she didn't even like, wasn't even into, basically, came on to her and made move to her. And, basically something that she was just not ready for, something that, we talked about, that she valued, took her innocence. And I know in my soul that these evil fucking people, these fucking pedophiles, I know they sent that girl to my baby. And I know they paid that girl to take my daughter's innocence. I know it in my soul. I know it in my soul. And my daughter is shattered. She's so shattered. And I tried my best. I stayed calm, and, I told her everything was going to be okay, and that she's still a good girl. She's fine. But I also tried to tell her, that you have to be careful, that you can't just be hanging out with people, because the people that want to hurt your mom, they'll send people to try to hurt you, to try to hurt me. And I know they did this to my baby. I know they set my baby up. And I know they filmed it, and I know they sold it. They set her up in high school. She had a friend that she used to walk home with. And then they ended up paying her friend to be a gang stalker. And I guess I'm remembering because it's Friday the 13th. And she ended up going out with this friend. And this friend ended up giving her alcohol and spiking her drink. Now, I don't know. My daughter was so out of it. She was so out of it. And I knew something was wrong. I got a sick feeling that day, just like I had been this past month. I got a sick feeling that something was wrong. So I called my daughter, and she wasn't answering the phone. And then the friend picked up, and she's like, "Oh, I think something's wrong with Isabella." And so I raced to go get my daughter. Where they're in this cafe, and when I find my daughter, she's like drugged out of her mind and slobbing all over the place, just like out of her mind. And I knew she had been roofied or drugged or something. And her friend, they're both in high school. This is like sophomore year. This wicked little bitch is standing there with this evil ass grin. So I don't know what she's filmed my daughter or what has done, but I know that again, it's all set up like these people. Like, whatever, my baby. And so she spiked her drink and she drugged her. And so I managed to get my daughter home. Again, she was a sophomore in high school. And I was so scared because I didn't know what drugs this evil little bitch had put in my daughter's alcohol. And I knew it was more than alcohol because she was just out of her mind. And so I get home, but I was so scared because I didn't know if she was going to die, or I didn't know. So I remember calling 911 for an ambulance. And when the fire truck came, there were like 7 or 9 men. There were no women. That showed up, and I didn't even think of it that night. I didn't even think of it. All these grown ass, big ass men come in, and they went into her. She was in her room. And they were like acting like they were doing vitals, and they were like, "Okay, you can leave." And they were trying to get me to leave my baby in the room. They were like, you can leave," and they were all crowded, so I couldn't see. So I had to bust in there, and then it dawned on me. I'm like, why are all these fucking grown men? There are no women here for a 911 call for a little girl. And they were filming this, like they filmed all of this with me. And so I told them when I realized what was going on. But I had almost let these men violate because I just didn't know. I didn't know that the police and the firemen were like part of this. Like, I didn't know. And so I told them, I said, "No, you leave," because her clothes were like falling off, and I had to come in and like pull up her clothes. And they were pretending like they were taking her vitals, but it was this like grown fucking man. And I'm like, "No, there are no fucking women here. There are no nurses. There are no nothing." So I told them to leave. But this just reminds me, these people are sick. It's okay, like, do whatever to me, harm me, hurt me, do whatever to me, but leave my babies alone. My baby has been trafficked since she was an infant. And I was thinking the other night, I remember the day that I realized that something was wrong, and I was being followed, and I was being stalked, and I had to pick my daughter up for daycare, and they told me, we think something happened to your daughter because, she had a diaper rash that wasn't there before. Like, I don't know. They've been harming my baby since she was born. My baby has been trafficked since she's been born, and I can't protect her. I haven't been able to protect her. I just want somebody to help me. It's just so wrong. I just want somebody to help me, and I have these people. I just need God to move. I need God to move, and I need God to stop it, and I need God to do something, and I need God to help me, and I'm just asking God to help me right now. To get everyone responsible for what they've done. Not only to me, but to my baby. And they took my grandchildren, they put them in CPS. They housed them with pedophiles. And we were able to get them back, but still, like, they've been doing this and I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm just asking God to move right now and save my family and bring everybody that is part of this to justice.